Hello friends, it's Sarah. Welcome to episode 3 of our luxury hotel and resort build here in Dinkum. If you haven't caught episodes 1 and 2, I will link the playlist in the description below. And let's get started. So no luxury hotel or resort is complete without a super swanky pool to go with it. And that's what we're working on here, a pool. If only it were that easy to build in real life, I gotta say. Here living in the South, it is quite hot already this year. It's gonna be in triple digits later, and I really could give just about anything for a pool of my own at the moment. So here we are kind of deciding on the dimensions and all the fun stuff that comes with like the foundation of building any kind of feature like this in Dinkum. So now we're gonna just dig it out and make it look like a pool. The actual hotel that we based this design on, like all resorts in Mexico, tend to have these massive pools in front of them. Most of the hotels like face the ocean and have like a massive pool system between the hotel and the ocean. And I considered that for this. I like that, but at the same time, this island is a certain shape, and I did not want to do any more dirt printing to expand the beach and expand it out even further as it was an endless amount of dirt printing, and decided that we have all this extra room on the side. Let's just put the pool there, even though typically, they go on the ocean side of any resort in Mexico, which is what this is based off of. But I think it's gonna work out. I think it looks good over here. I like that it just sort of has its own little space and isn't crammed into the front of the hotel in any way. Although if anybody ever wants to copy this design or wants to do something similar and you put in a pool there, I'd really love to see how you did it and what it looks like, because I feel like you could go either route. We just, for our purposes here, we decided not to do that. Also, any kind of luxury pool is not complete also without a waterfall, because waterfalls make everything better. And I love, love, love the water boxes that were added in the spring update. They have opened up so many different opportunities for design, so many natural and man-made creations, which is what we're doing here. We tried so many different things. We change our mind, we take it down, we put something, we take it off. That's the Dinkum design process, or really any design process, I guess. So just a trial and error, and what looks good, what do we like, what do we don't like, all that stuff. So, and of course, a pool needs a deep end for diving and swimming, and that's what we're going to put in now, is the quote, quote, deep end of the pool. Here I was trying to decide just how do I want this waterfall to look? How do I want it to pour into the pool? Do we want this to be kind of like the infinity edge, section? Do we want to put in an infinity edge? There was, we went back and forth on what to do here. Oh, I like this, but I don't know if that's going to work. We need steps to get into the pool somewhere. Where are we going to put those? Maybe I should have recorded all of our discussion. It was kind of funny. Then you got to see into our brains and how we, discuss this out. But that might have been tedious as well. this whole little montage should give you guys a real look into the sort of process here when it came to building this section of the pool. We changed our minds on quite a lot of things. What's it going to look like? Do we want to, what do we want to add pathing wise? I liked the idea of the rocks. They tend to give it a more natural look. So yeah, this is just a kind of the rough draft. What you're seeing right now being built is sort of a rough draft version. I keep coming over here to take a break to kind of take a look at it. What's it going to look like from a distance? That's a big thing. How does it look up close? How does it look far away? I don't know why my jackhammer kept taking away the entire rock. It was very irritating, so I had to switch to a pickaxe. Pickaxe? Uh-oh. Which one is it? I don't remember. Anyway, I love the stone wand. I love that now that you can put rocks just about anywhere. So I hope James adds that in for a lot of other elements too that you can't naturally just obtain or craft. And we're gonna call it a day and start again tomorrow. Putting in a pool is tiring. All right, so it's looking kind of blocky. It's not looking so great right now. It's not cute, but it will be. It's a process, right? And here we go. About to reseed, I think. Yeah, reseeding, man, I tell you. Very time-consuming and tedious process, but it can also be very therapeutic. These repetitive motions can be very almost meditative, I feel like. Whenever you're having a stressful day or whatever, sometimes it's not the worst idea to just get on Dinkum and, just take care of some tasks and that are super repetitive, and it kind of just lulls the brain a little bit. So some nice life tip there for you if you're in need of some mental calming. This will do it for you. And now I'm realizing I wasted it was a total waste of time to do all that with the shovel. Of course, as you're doing it and you're talking, you're like, oh, we could do this instead. And then all the things you just did were like a waste of time. That is the design process, ladies and gentlemen. It's how it goes sometimes. You do all this work and then you're like, yep, that's not going to work out at all. I need to do this instead. And, that's why we play games, right? For fun, for relaxation. Can't take it too seriously. Just have fun with it. I really like putting pathing down underneath the water boxes because it gives the water sometimes a certain color. Using the mushroom pathing definitely makes the water look a lot more turquoise blue underneath, and which is the vibe and the aesthetic we were going for. So that ended up being the winning combination. See, look how much more vibrant the water looks rather than having a dirt bottom. You can do the green brick pathing. It also kind of gives it more of a certain look that's a little different from this bright blue. You can do the marble, which definitely makes it look different. Really, any of the pathings underneath are going to give the watercolor a little bit of a variation. So something to keep in mind whenever you're using them in your island or on your builds is to utilize different kinds of pathing under the water boxes to see, depending on what you're building, if you're going to build a swamp or something, or a very swampy area, you're probably not going to want to use this turquoise blue. If you're building, a lake or something, you might want to use the green brick, give it more of a realistic color. And one of the great things about these ramps is that you can slope things down. And so instead of having this step down in the pool, now it just looks like an actual, pool slope. Is that a word? Is that a thing? A pool slope? You guys know what I'm talking about. When it goes from the shallow end to the deep end. We're going to call it a pool slope because that's what we're doing here in the land of Sarah. This little lip here just gave me so much trouble. This little jut out from the rock outcropping from the waterfall, I struggled with how to deal with that. I didn't want to take it out entirely because the waterfall needed some elevation, but I went back and forth on how to handle this area because it was just vexing me to the point of this doesn't look right, visually. It just looks strange. And you might see it look different later on. It transforms quite a few times, actually, as most of these kinds of projects tend to do. You go in with a plan and then you're like, yep, nope, I don't like that. Once you get it all together, it's just not coming out the way you want it to. And it can feel like a waste, but at the same time, so much of it is just part of the process, and enjoying it. When you're building with somebody else too, it just makes it that much better because you've got somebody to talk with and bounce ideas off of and say, does this look good? I thought it was going to look good, but I don't know, maybe it doesn't. And then the other person going, yeah, no, that's not a winning idea. Let's not do that. If you're building alone, you can talk to yourself. Have those conversations in your head. I do. Does that make me crazy? Maybe a little bit. Makes me something anyway. So this is kind of where I do I like this? I don't like this. There's something wrong here. It doesn't feel right. It looks strange. What can we do differently? And again, this entire area was tweaked more times than I'd like to count, just because I could not quite get the vision in my head to match what we were doing. And I think it's in the next episode, but it may be in this one where we finish it out and it looks okay. It's fine. It's nothing to write home about. It's not anything I was jumping up and down about. I was like, this is meh. And I'm feeling meh about it. It probably needs to change. So we came back the next day and I was telling Sunny, look, I had this idea last night. We're going to have to redo the entire pool, or at least half of it. Because the way we did it, there's nothing wrong. It's completely fine. It's just not giving the wow factor. The building that we built, the hotel structure, is wow. And this is not looking wow to match it. So what do we do? And I'm gonna leave that there for now. And when we get to that part, we'll talk about it. But you'll definitely see a massive transformation in this area over the next little bit because we did it one way and then decided we didn't like it and came back and redid it, which, when you're playing in creative mode is much easier to do. When you've had to grind it out for materials, that can be incredibly frustrating. So I do recognize that when you play in creative mode, you have a lot more options to just willy-nilly it, as I'd like to call it, rather than when you're grinding out materials and you have to craft everything by hand. You know, that can be really frustrating to do a certain thing and then have to turn around and completely change it later on. So there was some cleanup. You can see my ADHD at work. Hey, I'm gonna go over here and do this for a second. Now I'm gonna go back to laying pathing. Because, you know, that's how I roll. So this is the poolside terrace, and we decided to make this little area up here a place that would have tables and chairs and umbrellas for people to sit under and drink their drinks and snack and eat and just relax by the pool. I've used a ridiculous amount of marble in this build, so once again I was like, you know, we need to break it up with a pattern of something. It worked out perfectly. Look at that. It's almost like I planned it, which I did not. But it's always lovely when things work out that way. But yeah, we're going to put a little pattern in the floor of the outdoor terrace and see what's what. And here I'm realizing, oops, I got off somewhere. So what are we gonna do? Well, you just dig it up and start over. Nope, don't put it there, silly. Oh. Is it just me, or does anybody else just constantly place the stuff in the wrong square? Because I do that way more frequently than I would like. Clearly, I'm not so great at the aiming. I was really happy with this kind of patterned look that we got going on. The stone pattern flooring plus the cement created kind of a nice little border without being too obtrusive, I feel like. You want it to be just eye-catching enough, but not so eye-catching that it's like jarring to look at. And I feel like this achieved that look that we were going for, and not have endless marble. Although I do say marble is probably one of my favorite pathings in the game, and I would probably use it on everything if I could, but you know, sometimes it's a bit much and you gotta dial it down a bit. Through the magic of editing, it is now complete. So here's a little trick I've seen people do. It's certainly not an original idea. I did not originate this, but I've seen others create a little block of dirt, put a piece of pathing on it, and voila, you've got a table that you can put 4 stools around. I love the tables and chairs and stuff in the game, but unless it's a single little coffee table, like a round table, it doesn't really, you can't center the chairs on most of the tables in the game, which is, for my little heart, just absolutely frustrating. So I decided to try this little trick and, you know, create this little faux table here with a block of dirt and a path piece. And there you go. You've got a table with an umbrella on it, and we're going to put out some chairs in just a second, and it all starts to come together, I promise. I thought the rattan furniture was going to look really nice, obviously. Tropical vibe, luxury hotel resort in a tropical area. Rattan furniture is the way to go. Why Am I struggling so hard to put this chair out in the right way? Oh boy, it's almost like I don't even know how to play video games, guys. Sometimes the struggle is for real. I might have also been super distracted and like talking during all of this. No doubt, I do talk a lot, although when it comes to recording these voiceovers to describe what's going on, I find myself with a lack of things to say, which is strange. I don't know if it's I've got to talk, so therefore I don't know what to say, and when I don't have to talk, I've got, run my mouth like crazy. So do with that what you will. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how we want it to look. What kind of plants are we going to put? How are we going to put the plants up here? Are we going to put some fencing? It's just going to be a whole mess of let's throw some stuff out there, see what's what. But we need some lighting because it gets real dark in this game. And if you don't put some lighting out, look at these damn roos and their poo everywhere, I swear. I felt like we were constantly cleaning that up. And here's to a new day. All right, guys, let's see what we're going to be working on now. Look at how pretty that looks. It's really coming together. I was getting really excited by the way that things were really starting to shape up at this point. So I was so excited about the new flower and bush additions when the spring update came out. The hibiscus bushes and the birds of paradise flowers are just two of the examples of the new flowers that were added to the game. I was super excited about that. I have used them so much in this build. Of course, they kind of just really fit the vibe we were going for, so it made sense. But you can never use too many flowers, I think. It's taking shape, but there's, again, something I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't like this 100%. Do you ever just look at something and you're like, it's good, but it's not great yet? Let's try to make it great. Even numbers drive me nuts. I think odd numbers tend to look better when you're designing something, and even numbers not so much. And so whenever there's an even number of something, I'm gonna put double the same thing. I don't know. I don't like that. I feel like anything in 1, 3, 5 tends to look better, but that's just me. That may be not a problem at all for others, but for me it was just like, should I take all this out because it's not even? I mean, it's even. You know what I mean. It's not even in the sense it's not symmetrical, but it's the number of planter boxes are 2. And again, this whole area was like, I'm just not in love with it. There's something about it that's just missing, that seems off. Sunny's over here building our loungers. I forget who originated this. I want to say Soho created the chair loungers with the ramps and like printed dirt. I may be wrong on that, but I think it was Soho. She's also a creator here on YouTube. At least that's from what I understand. She was one of the first people to use that, which is really clever. So James, if you ever see this, it'd be kind of great to have some actual like beach furniture for the game. It'd be super fun. Actually, I have a whole list of like beach and like water related things. So, get with me. I'll give you my list. I'm just kidding. But yes, for real though. Beach furniture, all beach paraphernalia. I'd love the umbrellas in like some other colors. Not that red and white is not absolutely like super classic, but I would have gone with something more like blue and white or maybe yellow to match the flowers we used. So yeah, but beggars can't be choosy. I'm gonna take what I can get. Even without it matching the color scheme, I still think it looks really good. So surveying our handiwork. Again, it's looking okay. It's coming together, but something feels off. And I think Sunny and I were talking about it, and I was like, I'm just not in love with this. I don't know what it is, but there's just something missing. Something about it just feels meh. And I kept harping on that over and over. And here we are kind of testing out, do we want to do the wood pathing? Do we want to do something else to create these lounge chairs? How can we make them look the most realistic and match what we've got going on already? Look at that. Look at all that fish and jellies in my pool. Get out. Can you imagine if jellyfish could get in an actual pool? Ooh. Not fun. They spawn in water that's, I think, 2 tiles deep, I believe. So because we used actual water and not the water boxes, fish and jellies are going to spawn in the pool. It's just a reality we have to live with. And, it could be fun having some critters in there. I took a break from the pool area because it was driving me nuts. I was really getting frustrated with not liking what was going on and just said, you know what, I got to move on to something else for a second. So I had always intended to maybe put some flowers or something around these palm trees that we had put in front of the hotel. And I like to bury the planter boxes and put the flowers in those sometimes. It just creates a slightly different look. And the palmwood flower boxes tend to be flush with the ground. And so I wanted that kind of more flush, like, hey, we've planted some really nice flora around the palm tree, but I didn't really want to see too much of the planter box. And this is the result. I also kind of mixed it up using the butterfly orchids because we had used the bird of paradise pretty much everywhere else. And I thought we gotta make this a little different, maybe a little special, put something different flower-wise in these planter boxes. Sunny came over to inspect my work, make sure I'm doing a good job. She was the resident floral expert. In real life, her and her family owned greenhouses back in the day when she was full-time working, and has more of an affinity sometimes for those kinds of things, and came over to inspect what I was doing and gave the seal of approval. So here she has built 3 loungers, and she was like, okay, here's 3 looks we can go with. Which one do you want? And we debated back and forth, like, hey, this one, the grain is going a weird way. This one I like, but we don't have wood anywhere else in the build. And I think ultimately we ended up going with the cement, just because we had used that in other places, and we were trying to keep things, as relatively cohesive as possible. And it just kind of gave a cleaner look, in my opinion, for what we had going on here. Here's another attempt to me to try to fix whatever was bothering me about this particular part of the build. Like, hey, okay, let's put more flowers at a different level, or more water, I just kept going on, and nothing was satisfying whatever it was that was bothering me. I just everything I did was hideous. This looks hideous. I don't like it. It's not giving the same elegant feeling that the hotel did. It looks messy or something. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. I kept telling her, I am frustrated by this. I don't know what's going on. I'm not liking it. It's not my favorite. And we came back the next day. I had an epiphany and was like, okay, I know what to do now. And we set about doing that. So you get to see the uglier part of this whole process of how we did this, and it didn't turn out. It doesn't look good. And it's a real moment, I feel like, with stuff like this. On some videos you see cobbled together, all very beautifully edited and elegant, and this one is not. And you can see just how many changes went down without me editing them out. I almost took all this out because I was like, they're not going to want to watch this. But I feel like it's more realistic, and also when other people are building, it's more relatable. They did this too. It didn't work out for them either. Maybe I'm not, terrible at this. No one's terrible. You're all doing a good job. We just have to figure out what looks good for what we have in mind and work with that. So I left all this in because I wanted you guys to see, we don't always know what we're doing perfectly in the beginning. It sometimes changes, and we sometimes hate our own stuff. I know I do. I look at stuff all the time I've done and was like, I could have done this better. Yeah, I was super frustrated here, I think. I was like, ugh, this is not what I wanted. And yet I did it, but, maybe you guys understand the push-pull kind of viewpoint here, where it's just like you're not liking it, but you don't know what else to do. So you're just like, I'm going to leave it because something will spark creativity and make me want to change it. And I think I had the idea really late at night and messaged Sunny the next day. I was like, okay, I know what to do at the pool area. This is what we're going to do, because it'll elevate it and make it look less boring. And I was really, really happy with the end result. And when Jersey came to film the showcase, he said, I think people are going to start doing this. This was a really good idea. And all I did was just copy things from real life resorts I've been to. Whenever you're stuck with something like this, especially if you're already kind of basing it off of a real life place, pull up pictures and use the pictures as a guide. Because I tell you what, sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, I'm a visual person. I need to sometimes see something out there that exists and then emulate it in some way or copy it. And that's what I did. This was bothering me so much with the pool that I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna Google some stuff and see what we can do differently. And then I remembered an actual place I had gone to a few years ago for this destination wedding I had to photograph, and the resort there had a setup similar, and that's what I ended up going with. And I was like, I should have done this from the get-go, but hindsight's always 20/20. We're making real progress. From what this started as a big blank slate of nothingness, we've got this really great structure. We've got, look at that. That's just so pretty. So pretty. If I do say so myself, I'm going to pat myself on the back right now. Yay. Just to come from, complete utter blankness to this, I was really, really impressed with us. But we were thinking, you know what, we've done all of this work and we still have so much left to do. But it was really exciting because it was a really great project to work on. It was so much fun to have somebody to work on it with me. And I really appreciate Sunny coming every day and working for a couple hours on this project with me. We had a lot of fun and I made a really great friend out of it. So yay for that. But anyway, guys, we're wrapping up. This is episode 3. I hope you stay tuned for episode 4 and you can see all the changes in the pool. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.